And I couldn't hear Ken, so I turned it way up. You might need to turn it down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Get over here. I need to sit here so the folks online can hear me, okay? Oh, Eileen. Let's see, we've got Eileen and Betty and Jill. Hi, Jill. And Ken. Where's your beloved Ken?
What is it?
Where's Jan?
Dan's at a doctor's office this morning.
This is not clear, is it?
At the doctor's office this morning.
She's at a
What?
doctor's office.
Doctor's office? We're having trouble with our speakers, so bear with me.
I can hear him.
Good, good. They were working fine Sunday and today. I don't know, technology is, it's got a personality of its own, doesn't it? So let us pray. So take a deep breath and close your eyes for a minute and bring yourself fully here. So the invitation that we're exploring today is related to bringing your full self and being mindful as possible moment to moment. And so, Lord, we pray in now, knowing that your presence and power in us lights us up right now with divine ideas, with clear understanding, with joy in our hearts. We give thanks for this time together, knowing that it is filled with blessings for all, as it must be with your presence. And so you are moving across the minds and hearts of each of us right now with your light. And we rest in knowing that and go into this time with a sense of enthusiasm, excitement, and expectancy. Thank you, God. Amen.
Amen.
Okie dokie. Well, I had an idea. We'll see if you like it. I always have ideas. They're not always good. But but I would love to have an idea of your adventuresomeness. So two things. I'm going to ask you to interview someone. Now you two know each other way too well. And so do you two, Cindy and Doug. Yeah. But you can if you want. You can interview one another. But what I would like you to do is get a partner. I don't know if we're even numbered here. If not, we can do three. But with a partner, two things for each of you. And the one with the shortest hair starts. Your most meaningful adventure, and something no one knows about you. Now it's going to be difficult with husbands and wives, but maybe you could think of something. Okay, do that now. Okay, are you online? You online, just pause and think of it. Your greatest adventure, or one of your greatest adventures, and something no one here in this room or online knows about you. Okay, so I'm gonna, you guys do it now. Arlene and Sig. Three, oh, great. Okay, good. We've got partners, great. And you two are going to stay together or no? What? Okay, I mean, I'd love it if you would. So why don't you go with Darlene and Dee? And then Stan, Stan, you go, hey, Doug, Stan is going to come over with you.
Okay.
And Susie, you go with Susie, I mean Cindy, Susie. Okay?
And who do you want us to go?
Okay, so you're one of your most exciting adventures and something no one in here knows about you. And you guys online are thinking about it, and I'll come back to you. What do you need, a chair? Have you online got something? Be right with you. Hang in there, you online. Just hang in there. Okay, a couple more minutes, so if you haven't switched partners, do that. One more minute. Finishing up, finishing up. Skydive, you know, on horseback riding. Sounds like church, doesn't it?
Can't stop them.
Are we ready?
Very, very friendly group.
Okay. Look who can't let go. I never see that happen. Okay, we're gonna inspire one another right now. So I'm going to start with Eileen. We're going to do the online first.
Okay, one of my greatest adventures was driving from Ogden, Utah to Nebraska with my college softball team to go to the College World Series. And something that nobody knows about me is I used to officiate women's college basketball, and I was able to officiate the national tournament at Penn State and the University of Minnesota.
Oh, wow. How interesting. Thanks, Eileen. Let's go to you, Betty.
My,
Boy, this is so
Meaningful
loud, isn't it?
can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh, loud and clear.
Okay. My meaningful adventure was a trip that my husband and I took to Russia back in the 1980s. At that time, Russia had been an ally of ours during World War II, and yet with the communism stuff and all that was going on. And like I've said in my Holy Land video, when you go and visit another country, you realize those are people just like we are. They have children, they have, the same wants and needs as we do. And I wish everybody could get a chance to travel around the world and just see how much we are a human family. And something nobody knows about me, that's kind of hard because in my blog, I did one sort of an autobiography. So you guys know all my secrets.
I
That
doubt
were reading that. Yeah, that's true. I didn't put the secrets in the blog, in the post. I guess one of the things that I feel funny talking about these things because it's like, well, look what I did, and I don't mean it to be that way. When I was going to college, I had a very good average, grade point average, and I took a class in skiing. Well, of course, we were in New Jersey, and there was no place to ski, so they had a hill that they put sheets on, and you would slide down. And if you could do all the 5 moves that they had lined up, you got an A. If you did 4 of them, you got a B, so forth and so on. And to make a long story short, I was the last one still working because I wanted to get an A, and it was getting darker and everybody else had gone home and just me and the teacher. And she said, oh, for heaven's sake, you'll get your A, you're doing fine. But that enabled me to get the Francis Cardinal Cook Award for Academic Excellence at Dominican College when I graduated. So I was glad that I stuck it out and got my grades up.
Thank you. Thanks. And Ken?
My greatest adventure was visiting the Tetons.
Was what?
Visiting the Teton Mountains.
Oh, nice.
The only thing you might not know is
Video.
3 of us, out of 4 of us in our family, I was the only
You are in the meeting.
boy child. My 3 sisters stayed away from me so I could grow up to be the princess.
Choose video filter. Choose audio now unmuted alert. Cannot start video. Failed to start the video camera. Please select another video camera in settings.
And now,
What is that?
Cannot start. Mute start video participants chat share screen record reactions app.
What the
I
heck?
think it must be Jill.
so,
Settings window.
Am I
Yeah.
making noise? I'm sorry. It's that stupid computer. I'll mute it.
Go with you.
It's Jill? Okay. I'm so sorry, Ken. What was the one thing that nobody knows about you?
well, I'm one of 4 children in a family. My 3 sisters are all younger than me, so that put me in a very nice place in a family.
To be pampered, you mean?
That's correct.
I love it. I love it. Okay, thank you. Jill?
She's
Yes.
muted. She's muted so that we don't have that interference.
I'm not sure. Can you share something, your greatest adventure?
Yes. Can you hear me now? I was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
in my early 30s and I went with a couple, I was divorced at the time and I went with a couple other friends to Myrtle Beach and we had the most wonderful time.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. And what is something no one knows about you in this room? Okay, look, I'm going to go on. Let's go to the gentleman over there. Stan, would you go first? You're one of your
But
greatest
I'm
adventures.
getting through it.
And then.
What?
And then something no one knows about you.
Oh, something no one knows about me is that I was in an accident in August of 2020 and I had a brain injury. It's been quite a journey, but I think I'm getting toward the end of it. I'm much
Good.
better than I was. I don't know if I'll ever be the same as I was, but in a good place now.
Thanks, Jill. I'm glad you're here. Yeah, Jill
Me
was
too.
hit by a car in her golf cart, thrown out of her golf cart. Yeah, really bad. We love you. Okay.
Love you.
Stan?
Well, I've had a number of ventures. The one I mentioned to my friend here is that was it a young naval officer, and I had requested duty in the San Francisco Bay Area, which was close to school, because my fiance was there, and I got it. And I
Wow.
was assigned to the carrier home port in San Francisco. The only problem was 1 week after I reported aboard, they changed home ports to San Diego.
Oh, that's not a bad gig either.
Which isn't a bad place, no, but it was a long way to Berkeley to get there.
Yeah.
And visit this kind of thing.
Thank you. And what's something that no one except your wife knows about you?
Well, I guess that probably no one knows that I was a rowing coach and U.S. rowing referee for about 25 or 30 years.
Oh, how interesting. Do you still row?
No, I was a coxswain, not a rower, but it was my size.
Oh.
But,
So the coxswain cheers the team on, right?
that and steers.
And steers. Big thing.
No, the answer is no. I hung it all up a few years back.
Oh, not a lot of places to row here in Sun Valley.
Well, there are, and then Tippytown Lake is a rowing site, so.
Thank you. Doug?
I had a lot, but the one thing that's greatest thing was when I was working on my pilot's license at Midway Airport in Chicago.
Oh,
And I was supposed to go up and around. And as soon as I took off, someone declared an emergency. And so they told us to get out of the area.
oh, geez.
So I got out of the area. So about 45 minutes later, I get a call from my instructor, "Where are you?" And I said, "I'm up in the air." "You need to get back here." I said, "Well, okay, I'll try to figure out how to get back there."
Oh, my,
And I did, so I did land.
wow. Did you online hear Doug? He was getting his pilot's license at Midway Airport in Chicago, and about the time he went up, this was a test run, right?
The solo, your solo.
Your solo flight,
That
ooh.
was it.
There was an emergency call and he had to stay up in the air for 45 minutes on a solo flight test. Freaky. And what's something no one knows about you in this room?
Well, I got a couple things, but I'll know that I'm a prince in Slovakia.
You're what?
A prince,
A prince?
yes. Yeah, when the city Naperville formed the sister city relationship with Mitra, I went over there because the mayor did not want to do it. And during that time, there was a lot of experience there, but I brought helping with their democracy because they had just gotten rid of the Velvet Revolution. And one of the things I brought back there when I went back the second time was baseball. And when they finally came back to our country, we had dinner, and the mayor at that time came out with a sword and he went like this to me like that, and I went, okay, I didn't know what there was. So I came home and I told him, I think they knighted me. He said, "Well, good night." But I read the papers, the 9th time since 1209 that they made someone a prince.
Oh,
So
how
they gave me
cool.
a gold medallion with it and all that stuff.
How cool is that?
Do we have to bow to you now?
Okay.
Still take out the garbage.
Take out the garbage.
You know, my mind is going to, how can I use this on a Sunday morning? The Prince thing. For you, I mean, okay. Yes, Doug was crowned a prince way back when, for you online. Because of the connection with, what was the country, the city?
Well, the city is Nitra, but it's Slovakia. Used to be Czechoslovakia and they divided it. And so
Okay,
it's-
what is it today? Is it that today?
Yes, it is, yeah,
Slovakia?
yeah, so it's Slovakia.
Okay, boy, I've never heard that term. I mean, that name.
Yeah, Czech Republic and Slovakia, are separate.
Right.
Say that again, Stan?
The Czech Republic and Slovakia are two separate countries.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Boy, that was a interesting time in our history. I know this is taking time, but hang in there, okay? Because this is so revelatory. I'm loving it anyway. Darlene, one thing,
Oh, one thing, what was the? first thing?
adventure, a great adventure.
Oh, great adventure. Well, I've had wonderful, great adventures. I've been able to travel a lot.
One adventure.
I would imagine my first trip over to Rome,
Mm.
because I was able to go into the catacombs
Ooh,
and into, St. Patrick's and all that kind of stuff. And it was an awakening for me.
got it. And what is something that no one in this room knows about you?
Oh. Well,
You're really a blonde?
no, I'm a redhead. I could tell you a funny story, but you guys might not be ready for it. I'm sorry, my mind is.
Blanking?
this morning.
Well, think about it. We'll come back to you.
Okay, okay.
Billy?
Well, like Darlene, I've had a lot of wonderful adventures. And the last one was going to Turkey.
Hmm,
And the whole of Turkey is an adventure. And that took me 10 years to get to. And I invited a lot of people to go along and they all said it was too dangerous. I think I told you that maybe before, but anyway. And I used to be a probation officer.
Really?
Yeah, don't look like a cop, do I?
No. Oh, my
My
God.
mother-in-law called me to make the jail, but I worked with delinquent parents. So
Wow.
child abuse has been a long time concern of mine.
Yes, I hear you. Thank you. Boy, if you went on that What's My Line TV
Yeah.
show,
Yeah.
I would
But you
never guess
I-
probation officer. No. Oh, yeah. Okay, for all of us here, Billy used to be a probation officer, so watch out. Yes, Donna? A great adventure?
Well, as you all know, I'm a musician, was a musician.
Yeah.
And when I was in high school, we went as an orchestra, like President Kennedy.
How exciting. Exciting.
And that was quite an adventure.
Yes.
And then in college.
Say that again. Jill, would you mute, please?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't worry. In college, you,
I was in the orchestra, and we went to Russia,
Russia, oh,
and toured
how exciting.
big cities.
Yeah. Great, thank you. And what's something that no one in here knows about you?
It's about the same thing.
That you what?
I don't have anything.
You don't have anything.
She's an old-
That's what she did.
Oh, playing for JFK, okay. Did you get to meet him? No?
And his wife, though.
You met as well? Oh. Close enough, I guess. Yeah. Thanks, Donna. Linda?
I would say one of my most meaningful adventures was a trip to Russia, maybe back in about the 1970s. It was part of a group tour sponsored through a university. And it was
Ah.
just, very different experience.
Yeah.
And something no one may know about me was that back when I was a little bit younger, I was in the Peace Corps in Brazil.
Wow, how interesting.
Was,
Oh, did you learn any Portuguese?
yes, no, but can I speak it now? No.
Oh, thank you. For Linda, for those of you online, Linda was talking about what we don't know about her. She was a part of the Peace Corps in Brazil a few years, just a couple years
It
ago.
was just a couple years.
Oh, Dee.
So mine is kayaking last year,
Ooh,
some treacherous water streams. And if you don't know about me, it's actually kind of reminded me of something. When I was younger, I come from an Irish background, very Irish, and so I took Irish dance lessons.
oh,
And my parents were kind of well connected with the Irish community. And we danced at the Waldorf Astoria, and President Kennedy was there as well.
oh, wow.
And I actually did meet him.
You did meet him.
But thank you for reminding me that I told somebody about that.
Oh.
What a small world, isn't it?
Small world, yeah. So Dee was saying that one of the things we didn't know about her was that she was in an Irish dance troupe as a youngster, and they danced at the Waldorf Astoria. And when they did, Kennedy was there, and she met him.
Briefly, I mean, that's why.
Good enough. Thank you, Cindy.
Like most of you, we have many different kinds of adventures, some a little stressful, some more fun. But I took 12 teenagers to Italy and Greece, and my big adventure was trying to get 2 of the girls off the bar that were dancing in Greece, tavern. And Susan asked me, how did I do it? I said, if you don't get off the bar, you're going home. They both got off the bar, thank goodness, as the guys are trying to look up their dresses.
Oh, my goodness.
And something you don't know, I'm the princess to Doug's prince.
How cool is that? Oh, very cool. Thank you.
Do you want to repeat that? Or?
Oh, yeah, Cindy is the princess along with Doug in that sister city. And her great adventure was taking teenagers to Italy and Greece. And 2 of the girls, of course, you're lucky only 2, got in big trouble. Thank you, Susie.
Hi, when Cindy told me about Doug being a prince, it just overwhelmed me, and I got so teary-eyed. Think of all the marvelous things that we don't know about each other. It's
Yeah.
great. Okay, oh, so I thought I was going to talk, okay. What did I tell you? Oh,
Great adventure.
Okay, Egypt was my greatest adventure in 1979. I stayed there for 2.5 weeks and lived with my cousin's husband's family and traveled. And I used to pretend growing up, I grew up in Manhattan, born there. And we'd go to the Metropolitan all the time, and I'd go through the Egyptian part, and I always pretended I was in Egypt. So, and I used to pretend that the Hudson River was the Nile. And when I got there, down in Luxor, that's what it looked like, the other side, like the Palisades. So anyway, Egypt was a wonderful experience.
Past
Oh,
life.
I know.
Yeah.
It was not ever cheap.
Are you sure?
I think I was one of their daughters. And my other thing, I talk so much, so I don't know who doesn't know what, but I worked with the police one time trying to find 2 missing boys. And
You mean a psychic adventure?
yeah,
Yeah. Did you find them?
well, they had drowned. Yeah.
Oh.
So that wasn't a happy thing
No.
to relate, but I couldn't think of anything else.
Good enough. Good enough. So Susie was in Egypt and had a moment of having been there before, huh? Yeah. And then she was working with the police trying to locate 2 young boys who had disappeared. Okay, wow, are we interesting people?
I thought I had an interesting life, but now I think it's very boring.
What's your one adventure, Arlene?
Well, the one that I was thinking about was with my $2 and I went on a bingo cruise. But when we left in Nassau, we left the ship and we took a tour of the island with a local taxi driver.
Uh-huh.
And he was so nice and he just showed us the whole Franklin. It was very interesting. to see
Oh.
how they live in poverty, you know,
Yeah.
in their backyard. It was very interesting. What you don't know about me is that basically I'm a spiritualist and I live in Lilydale, New York, which is the largest spiritualist camp.
Oh,
Wow. I lived there and brought my kids up with
really? How interesting. What's the name of it again, Arlene?
Lilydale.
Lilydale? Would I find it online? Oh, Lilydale. Arlene was saying something that no one knows about her is that she lived in a spiritualist community in Lilydale, New York,
Right.
and had her 2 girls raised there, right?
Well, and I had a son, but I'm also.
Okay. Wow, interesting, fascinating. Thank you. Yes, Siggy.
And my great adventure of mine, oh, there's so many to choose from, but I will tell you one. My sister took me on a cruise to the Caribbean. And one adventure is she did excursions to different islands. So we went to Dominique and we took a taxi and we went up to the rainforest.
Hmm.
And I took a tram and hung over the rainforest out of the tram, taking pictures. Oh, please don't fall. It would have been a long fall, but anyway, I did fall.
Thank you.
Something people might not know about me, I have been blackberry picking in the countryside of Oregon. And my daughters and I would go blackberry picking and pick them in a 5-gallon bucket and take it to the creamery and sell it.
Wow, wow. Blackberries in Oregon?
Oregon.
Is that where you lived, obviously?
I did for a while. I've lived in Washington, Oregon, California, Arizona, South Carolina, and Ohio. You pick one. I'm here now.
I like it. I like you being here. So, so Sig lived in Oregon for a while, and she and her daughters would pick blackberries and put them in 5-gallon whatever buckets and sell them.
So, for the creamery, yes.
Great. Okay. Thank you. And Joy?
I've had a lot of adventures, but I think the one that's going to be quickest to tell you is when I was a high school teacher in the suburb of Chicago, and I had a good friend who was, she had a terminal cancer diagnosis, and she was a special ed teacher. And we became friends. I didn't even like her at first, but then we became really good friends. And we had an opportunity to go to Europe over Easter vacation as a chaperone with the German and French classes, right? So we said, well, let's go. For $750, we're going. And in the meantime, there was a lot of problems with the airlines and people sabotaging and yada, yada. The school district said they wouldn't allow the French and German classes to go. So I said to her, I said, well, so what are we gonna do? She said, I'm not gonna tell you her exact words, but we're going. Anyway, who's gonna bother with 2 old ladies? I said, okay, let's go. So we did, and we got to 3 countries. And so we got to go to Europe and take part in the tour, but we didn't have any kids to watch. So we were in Paris, in Germany, we saw King Ludwig's castle. We had our own chaperone who was signed up to, and tour guide that was signed up to take the whole class on it. We got her by ourselves, and she was younger than us, so she was pretty stylish. And hip. We went to, into where they sing that song in German. Anyway, we went to all these different places there. It was amazing. And I came back to school, and the school started. And I had, my office was in between 2 classrooms and had a sofa in it. So I went in during my free period and fell sound asleep. my class, some of the girls who were supposed to go on the trip came in and they said, Mrs. Welch, it might be time for you to wake up, you have a class. And so anyway, it was memorable, like, I mean, it was just awesome because we had tour guides, because it was a school trip, so we got all this information and everything was taken care of. It was a beautiful way to go to an adventure.
Such
So
a
that's
deal. Okay, one thing some folks here don't know about you. Chris, what is it?
I'm fine. I don't know. I really don't know. She's so transparent. I don't know if there's anything you don't know about.
And opinionated, you want to add that? I don't know.
Okay, Chris.
Okay, mine is just an adventure. I mean, we all have history. And I was in Mexico one time with, at that time, that husband and my two children, which were 9 and 10. We decided to do that, the horseback riding thing. So, okay, cool. So they put us in the boat and they take us out to an island and dropped us off and left. And there we are on an island, the four of us, and nobody else was on an island. But there were 4 horses. So we got on a horse and the horses knew what to do.
Huh.
They took us through this island, they took us through streams and rivers, and
Oh.
we ended up in this most gorgeous waterfall.
Oh.
And at one time it must have had a restaurant and stuff, but there was nobody. There was no water, there was no food, there was no nothing. But the kids loved jumping off the waterfall in the pond. And hours later, somebody came with a horse and took us back. We didn't know where we were or why we were or what was going on. But we were all safe and, you know, I think I was young enough to not panic, you know, it's all gonna work out somehow.
Oh.
And it did.
And something someone knows.
And
I mean, no
that's
one
hard
knows.
Too, because I think we've all shared so much. Probably the starting, and I personally did. Okay, so as president of the group, start the Ronald McDonald House.
You did what? Oh, you started the Ronald McDonald?
House.
Yeah.
Yes, so my
Fabulous.
son was,
Wow.
had cancer and we had
Wow.
no place to stay. Yes.
Fabulous. Are we ever interesting people? So let's see. For Joy, the adventure was going to Europe without kids. And for Chris, it was being on an island off Mexico with nobody else, 4 people riding horses. Good enough. Okay, I guess for me, one of my greatest adventures was going into the pyramids in Egypt because it was on my bucket list from the time I was in high school to visit Egypt and sail the Nile, which we did, and go into the Great Pyramid of Giza. Yeah, it was pretty awesome. And something no one knows about me, I don't know either, because I tell so many stories on Sundays. Let's see, what could I tell you? Something no one knows about me.
We'll get back to you.
Yeah, I don't know you. I was the Blessed Virgin in the Christmas pageant when I was in 8th grade.
Not hard to do in the 8th grade.
That's to remember. Forget that.
Okay, so let's move on.
So
Oh, yes, you thought of
Come
something?
back to me. Something that people don't know about me is I spent 8 weeks on the island of Crete one summer.
Oh.
Very interesting, and I had a Greek man over there who wanted to buy me and 7 rifles. Because they were having trouble with, the country next door, so.
Yes, oh.
But it didn't happen.
Well, oh, those Greek men. Yeah. I would go back to Greece in a flash.
Oh.
Okay, let's take a look at our, a little review on the fourth invitation and then the fifth. But thank you all for sharing that. We could have so many great conversations, couldn't we? Wow, about rowing. I watched it. That's it. Okay, finding calm in the midst of the storm. That was invitation 4. And Darlene, would you read these for us? Just see if you have any questions or comments about it. Can you all see it online?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Finding calm in the midst of the storm. Stop telling yourself you are too busy to have too much.
Yeah,
too
sorry
much
about
to
that.
do.
Let me wait.
Keep your head where your body is. Okay. Focus on your breathing while taking deep breaths and be in the moment.
Yeah. This is about finding calm in the midst of a storm, an emotional storm. And so often, telling yourself you're too busy, I don't know if that's a storm, except if you're stressed out with too much to do, which can happen. In your working life, I'm sure you heard it. And for those of us who are still working, I still hear it. Yeah, stressed out. And that's, I'm a certified coach. And one of the things that I think is benign about it, what I'm about to say, and very helpful is that statement is nothing but pure monkey mind. To tell yourself you're too busy or have too much to do is pure monkey mind. It is not living in the moment. Can you see that? It's not living in the moment. We may each have a lot to do, but we're only too busy if we tell ourselves we're too busy. Otherwise, we do one thing at a time, one moment at a time, right? Keep your head where your body is. I don't know about you, but my head is sometimes in San Diego, sometimes in Dallas, but my body is right here. So you can't, it's hard to find calm if you're worried about someone someplace else or something somewhere else. Focus on your breathing while taking deep breaths. That's the surest way to get back to calm. Have you found that? If you fill your body with your breath and focus only on that while you're doing it, it's incredibly calming. Okay, moving along. Any comments there? Any comments from online? All righty then. Would you read this one, Stan?
Breath is the activity of spirit. Breath is the most intimate connection we have with the realm of God. It is a vehicle for reaching the transcendent. Close your eyes, pause, and breathe.
That's so all of you, close your eyes for a moment. So the author is saying that breath is the most intimate connection we have with the realm of God. So just let's do what we just looked at in the prior slide. Take a deep breath and follow it. Just focus on your breathing as you inhale and as you breathe that breath throughout your body, every part of you from head to toe. And after your exhale, open your eyes. So can you feel the peace in the room? Yeah. Can you feel the peace out there online? I hope so, anyway. So this again is finding calm in the midst of the storm. You've all heard this one, right? A mind is like a parachute. It doesn't work unless it's open. How do you know if your mind is open or not? Huh?
Open, a sense of calmness.
Okay, good. And what does it tell you that you have a sense of calmness?
You respond rather than react to things.
Good, good. What else? Anything else?
You're breathing normally.
You're breathing normally, good.
You're able
How
to
do-
accept
how,
new ideas.
How do you respond to your taxes are going up by 20%? Are you breathing deep? Oh, you're saying, oh, okay. No. How could you keep how do you keep an open mind when you're hearing something that doesn't, that you find disagreeable or that does not agree with your belief system or your perception of things? How do you keep an open mind?
Ask questions.
Ask questions. Good one. Ask questions. Be curious, right? I was going to go someplace else with that, but I changed my mind. Any comments or questions about that? Keeping an open mind, which is finding calm in the midst of storms. What is a don't know beginner's mind like? Kind of the same thing. Anyone online? What's a beginner's mind like? Don't know mind. This is totally Buddhist right here.
This is Eileen. I'd say that you don't have any preconceived notions about anything and that you question anything that is out there.
Yeah. Can you think of an example of a time you had a don't know mind and found it helpful?
When I went to basic training,
In the Army? Yeah. Okay, and why is that, Eileen?
well, it was the first time I ever left home to live somewhere else. And there's a lot of different religions and colors and beliefs. And I didn't know what was expected of me or what was going to happen or what I was going to have to learn or anything. It's like show up and try to be the best person you can be.
Great, great. So beginner's mind, the Buddhists say, lets us be teachable. Teachable. If I know the answer, I'm not teachable. If I know what I know and I know it, I'm not so teachable. So beginner's mind helps us stay calm, helps us stay calm. Oh, forgetfulness. Someone read this for us. Someone.
All right, the story of forgetfulness. Memory fails. This is part of the process of being alive. Best done to focus on what matters. When memories are taken as true, they go unquestioned and frequently lead to fixed assumptions. All or nothing thinking.
Yeah. Any comments there? Okay. So to focus on what matters, no matter what, is really a good way to go through a day. You guys are quiet.
I think we've all done that as sometimes as teenagers.
Say more.
Go back to the slide. Go back to the slide.
An example.
Because the memories sometimes that we have are not true memories when they're, it's just our memory.
Right.
And if they go unfixed or unquestioned, you can carry that memory with you for a long, long time.
Yeah. Sometimes memories are good and sometimes not so good.
Right.
Yeah.
My daughter lives with me, and I will say something I'm remembering.
Yeah.
And she remembers it all over.
Yeah.
Like, did you have any injury? I was smacked.
Isn't that true? Perception. Everyone has a different perception. Chris?
And I think the whole thing is the story of forgetfulness. You have memories, but then you forget them,
Right.
you know? And I have that memory again, but memory, I just forget.
You do?
Yeah, I do. I really do. So that it's forgetfulness kind of comes with the memory of, I forgot my memory.
Yes. Yes. I forgot what I wanted to remember. I thought I remembered. Yeah. Anything else on forgetfulness? Memory fails, and that's part of the process of being alive. So focus on what matters. I think that's the important.
Sometimes forgetfulness kind of puts a Band-Aid on things that are not nice to you.
Yeah. And so there's not really healing.
Well, maybe not. depending on how you-
Okay. So, but what's a Band-Aid? Forgetfulness is a Band-Aid. Interesting. Yeah, I think that's probably true. Okay, anybody online want to comment on this? Any of these, either of these? No. All right, then. Do you agree with that or have a comment about it? Telling our stories and have others listen is a way of taking care of us. How can that be so?
It validates who we are. I find that having close friends that I really trust and wise people, and sharing situations, maybe sometimes adversity and challenges, just helps to validate who we are.
Yes.
And gives us empathy, that we're being seen, just to be seen.
Yes. Yes. Can you see that? Yeah, Billy?
I think it externalizes your experience.
Yeah.
So that even in the telling, you have a chance to look at it differently.
Yes.
Than you do when you go around and around in your own mind.
Yes. It can bring real clarity.
Yes.
Yeah. Telling our stories and have others listen. Any comments from online? Eileen?
I think it gives us an opportunity to connect with each other in a way that will allow us to know each other better and have empathy and maybe even joy to know that we're not the only ones that feel a certain way and feel like we're a part of a group.
Yes. So we're not alone. Good, important to know that. We're not alone in this world. Takes courage sometimes to tell our stories too. Not knowing is most intimate. In Zen, the word intimate is synonymous with awakening, realization, enlightenment. So my question is, what do you see about that? Intimate is synonymous with awakening, realization, or enlightenment. Not knowing is intimate. What do you see about that? How can that be? Not knowing, intimate.
I think it's where you can totally brain drain and realize the awakening, the realization that wasn't put in there. It's on new ideas.
Great. So Chris was saying that, I don't know if I can repeat it.
If you have your brain's empty, then it can awaken, it can do realization, it can do enlightenment, because if it's full, it's already in there, you know?
Yes. So not knowing, I don't have the answer, is a step in intimacy, because you're open to
Another person, another person's perspective. You're open to other ideas. When you admit that you don't know all the answers, then you are leaving yourself open.
Yes. Yeah. To enlightenment. Maybe I'll learn something here. Maybe I'll get a new idea in all of it. Anything else on this one? We're on the 5th invitation, you know that, right? Okay. Don't know mind. Someone read this for me, please. Doug, thank you.
Not knowing is a gateway to a deeper appreciation of the potency of our basic nature, which cannot be known by the conceptual mind alone.
Your thoughts, please. Not knowing is a gateway to a deeper appreciation of the potency of our basic nature. Isn't that wonderful? How potent you are.
It seems to me like that's very similar to the previous slide,
A little bit.
in that, just not knowing something, but you're open to find out about it. It's like the fire.
Yeah, and to think of
Draw a new conclusion.
pardon?
You would be drawing a new conclusion.
Yes, yes, we could make a huge difference. And even to, what does it say to you that you are potent, that your nature is potency?
That you're right.
Ripe. Ooh, I like that. You mean like juicy?
Like, green you're growing, ripe, ripe you're rotten, but I see it as ripe as in full potential,
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So in not knowing, we have a gateway to knowing more of our own nature, the goodness, the beauty of our own nature, the potency of our creative capacity. Can you see that?
I belong to a discussion group of 5 other men and 1 woman. And the woman and I have similar ideas. The men are on a different plane. And
What a surprise.
I find that I'm interested in their perspectives, and being able to listen to that without getting angry, without thinking that I'm superior, in other words, with an open mind. It's a great exercise in learning to listen to other ideas, even if you don't agree with them, and then to discuss them on a level rather than political or nastiness, just to be able to share that there are other people in the world. What is there saying by someone that says the person that agrees with you is also right? In other words, in some areas, I might not always be right. Somebody else might be right. And to be able to listen to that without anger, but with interest, I think is a good exercise.
Yes. Yes. Anybody else on that one?
This is Jill. I'm thinking that maybe I need to get a different perspective on what I've been going through with this brain injury, because there's been a lot of times that I can't remember, I can't stay focused, I can't get things accomplished. But if if not knowing is unlimited, so to speak. I guess I just want to say, you know, I'm open to the good that's going to come out of this bad, what feels like a bad situation.
Yes. Good
It's
job.
just, most of the time, it's terribly frustrating.
Yes.
But I think I need a different perspective on that.
You're open to a different perspective.
Yes, I am very much open to a different perspective.
See, that's what this is all about, right?
Mhm.
Not knowing, keeping an open mind, especially with things like this, you know, when things look bad, things look not on the brightest side.
Mhm.
So thanks, Joe.
Yeah.
Okay, how about this one, y'all? The sacred makes surprise appearances. Can you think of a time the sacred has made a surprise appearance in your life? You're all thinking, right? Go back into your memory.
But I think people have just gotten involved with unity or a new way of thinking that it's brought us, well, it's brought me many surprises
Ah,
and good things,
oh, great,
you know.
great. Billy had her hand up.
I was on a walk in the redwood forest.
Mm.
I thought it was a hike. And I'm, you know, going merrily along, but suddenly I realized, no, I'm in a sacred place.
Mm.
And it catches you
Yes.
sort of because, you know, in my mind, I'm going for a walk,
Right.
right? So I've been focused on that part of it. And that's happened to me a lot in nature, where I start out, you know, just thinking about where I'm going. And then I realize it happens actually most days because I see something.
Isn't that fabulous?
So,
Isn't it? And what happens inside you when that happens?
well, I awe and
Mhm.
wonder
Mhm.
and a feeling of this is way bigger than my mind thing, you know, where I started out, what I started out thinking.
Yeah.
And my goal is to do that more and more.
Amen. Amen. I think that's what he's saying in this chapter too, right?
Yeah.
It's everywhere. We just are open to it. Dee?
I have a funny one. I was on Match.com many years ago, not many years ago, a few years ago. It can be an up and down process.
No kidding.
But it's been on it. And one night this time said to me, you should go on Match again. I'm like, not really. I was alone. I'm not really. No, you really should. So I said, okay. And I had these photos. They were too old. So I said, okay. And I went on Match. And it's so funny because the next day when I went on, my husband, who I got married to, literally was leaving the next day.
Wow.
It was really remarkable. So he was my first date and I was his last after being on it for 6 months. But I just had this calling to me that night, like, just do it. I'm thinking, really? And I realized that was truly spirit speaking to me.
Yes. Yes.
It just showed up out of nowhere. So,
Absolutely. So what, let's see, what Billy was saying was walks in nature, especially in the redwoods, that just, she had a realization of the sacredness and majesty of it, and happens to her in nature. And then Dee was saying her experience on Match.com, she was just pushed to join one more time. And that one more time was the day that the man that she met that one more time, the first day she was on it, he was leaving. It was his last day on it, and timing is everything. Yeah. Cindy.
Yeah, I had an out of body experience on my honeymoon.
Oh, well.
I almost killed a dog on a motorcycle. And you talk about sacred experience when you live up to that realm. And I remember looking down going, I guess it's time for me to go now. And I never felt such peace
Mm.
and power
Mm.
but then I was suffering after one. I mean, you know, I guess it wasn't my time to go now, but I wasn't afraid. It was just a beautiful, sacred feeling, like Billy was talking about nature. You know, that's kind of how it was. And I used to tell that story. I said, it's not really important that you believe me. What's important is I know it happened to me.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So those of you online, Cindy was saying that, you were both on this motorcycle?
I was driving. Last time he's let me drive, 53 years.
So she was driving a motorcycle on their honeymoon and had an accident, right?
Right, Doug and I were thrown from the motor.
Ooh, wee. Oh, and Cindy had an out-of-body experience that, reflecting on it, was a very sacred experience because it was beautiful and calm, no panic.
None.
Yeah.
I was doing that.
You weren't quite there.
I took his old motorcycles off me and found bamboo sticks out of my legs.
Oh. Anyone else? Thank you. Anyone else on the Sacred Make Surprise
Sometimes I
Affair?
feel that when I find an unexpected parking spot.
Say that again.
I said, sometimes I feel that when I find an unexpected parking spot.
Oh.
At Fry's.
That's right. Yeah, thank you, Lynn. Susie?
I guess this was one because it keeps coming into my head because it was just so beautiful. It was about a year ago and I was in somebody's rose garden. Oopsie. And I was just looking at this beautiful pink rose and it just was so beautiful. I just started crying. When I think about it, I do, so it was just amazing.
Interesting. Very sacred, huh? Yeah.
I'm allergic to roses. But maybe I'm not anymore. Huh?
No, it reminds me of, who was I listening to? I don't know what you guys do to stay inspired, but I want to keep myself inspired. It's important for my well-being. And so I listened to tapes a lot, CDs, and who was I listening to? Oh, can't remember, but it was someone talking about one of those ancient Greek philosophers. And that philosopher talking about the ladder of beauty being sacred. That as we climb the ladder of beauty, we more and more get into the sacred. So I thought about that when you're talking about the beauty of a rose, because roses are exquisite, aren't they? Exquisite. And not only are they exquisitely formed, but they smell, the fragrances. How amazing is that? Where does that fragrance come from? You know what I mean? Who put the fragrance there?
Elaine's got her hand up.
Eileen? Hi, Eileen.
When I was just out of high school, I was a part of a leadership group in my church, and we were 5 of us a part of this leadership group, and we were at a meeting where we started with prayer, and we were all kneeling down in a circle, and each one of us were praying one at a time. And after I prayed, the next person was praying, and I felt this energy at the base of my spine. And I was kind of contemplating that energy, and all of a sudden this energy just shot up my spine and I just went out. I just, was out on the floor, and everybody was really worried about me. But while I was out, I was talking to my brother who had passed away. And it was a very, very special, wonderful experience to be able to talk to him and have him give me a message that it was not time for me to do anything, but to be prepared for what was coming. And so it was one of those experiences that I just cannot explain, but absolutely wonderful.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah. Have any of you had that experience? Kundalini, it's called Kundalini energy. Yeah, and you're never the same after a Kundalini experience. Anything else on the sacred making a surprise appearance in your life? Okay. See what else I've got here. The word sacred is a symbol. Ah. Is it an intuitive knowing that spirit inhabits everything? What do you think? How do you know? I mean, what makes you say, if you do say it, that spirit inhabits everything? Like a rose, like the redwood forest.
Because God is in me and all around me.
Good one. Very good. Who said that?
Jill.
Jill, good one. Anybody else?
I think you have to have an awakening of awareness to realize that.
Yes, you do. A spiritual
I think
awakening.
People were born with it, and then life, gets.
Wait, people
directs
were born
us
with what?
With the intuitive, knowing that spirit is with us. I mean, as a baby, you just feel that. And then we grow up and go through and mature, and then we need to learn again.
Yeah.
about
But the
awareness-
intuition is-
awareness yeah, just being back, getting it back.
Getting it back or becoming aware of it again.
Right.
Yeah. Because it is the four functions of consciousness: thinking and feeling, sensing, and intuition, the way our consciousness functions. And the intuition is that connection to something beyond ourselves. So next question, how do we somehow recognize the sacred in the birth of a child, a sunrise, sunset, dying process, or a courageous act? How do you recognize the sacred?
It's an overwhelming feeling. Just, just knowing, getting focused back on it.
Yeah. How else would you describe, anyone else describe it? Recognizing the sacred in a sunrise or a sunset?
So overwhelmingly beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
It's,
something so pure about a baby, pure about a beautiful sunset.
and miraculous, right? Miraculous, when you think about it. So I think what I want to point to here, what I want to invite you to take a look at is, again, the ladder of beauty. And the recognition, that moment where you are so present that you experience the sacred. You can appreciate. Can you see that? Without being 100% present and somewhat, check me out on this. Is it true that recognizing the sacred in those things,
Is what?
recognizing the sacred in a sunset, the birth of a child, dying process, or a courageous act, recognizing the sacred in it almost requires a certain kind of spiritual understanding
Yes.
or maturity?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
When you get an insight, where does it come from?
Yeah. Where does it come from?
So you don't have all those little pieces that you get pulled together, you wouldn't get the insight.
Say that again.
Well, you mentioned three or four of those.
Four functions?
Yeah, functions. If you don't have those things in mind or in your psyche, where would the insight come from?
Yeah. Where would it come from?
Well, I think that's the sacred nature.
Yeah. Yeah. The insight comes from, see, think about, I think about it this way. Take, did I do my disclaimer in this class, in this discussion group? take what you like and leave the rest. That's my disclaimer. So, what was I going to say about that, Stan? You made me think of something. So where does the insight come from? Can we get an insight? Can a 12-year-old get an insight about the beauty of a birth? Or can a 6-year-old get an insight about the gloriousness of skiing down a slope? Or a sunset? Can a 6-year-old? I mean, we're talking about insight here, and so does the seed of a rose know what the rose looks like once it's bloomed? The knowledge is in there already, right? Because it's in the seed. And yet, it takes a certain kind of, I think, I could be wrong, a certain kind of growth to appreciate it, the insight.
I don't think a child would understand or have that same appreciation that an adult would.
Right.
Just because of maturity.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think it depends on the child. There are some indigo children.
Indigo
that have
children.
Very intense feelings that they pull from at very young ages. It just, you learn from them.
Yeah. Boy, I mean, these days there's an ad on TV with 2 little kids, a little black boy and a black girl. And she's telling him, you know, she's coaching him. You're a star and you shine. And she says it like she knows this.
And don't you love his little face?
I love his little face that lights up.
Is that, oh my gosh, yes, I love it.
Yeah.
And it's for Dignity Healthcare, I mean, or something, I mean, who would sponsor this?
Yeah, that's truly the kind of encouragement that we all needed to have as children, but probably didn't get. You know,
Right.
we got punished more than we got encouraged. But yeah, that's an awesome commercial. But you know, sometimes things come out of the mouths of babes.
That's true. That's what Cindy was saying. When my third grandson, my daughter and I are believing that my third grandson was a twin, but his twin got miscarried. But he came in, I think he's an indigo child. He, one night she would go to bed with him and stay with him until he fell asleep. So she's in bed with him and she thinks he's asleep. And she hears him say, "Night, night, angels."
Oh.
He's got the channel open.
I don't know what an indigo child is.
It's, you go ahead.
Daisy.
Jill,
Yes,
mute.
I got it. I'm muting.
Jill, mute.
I'm trying.
Jill, thank you.
No, an indigo child is a child that's born like Jesus was born, which is very close to being spiritual and close, I see it, recognizes their oneness with God at a very young age. And they're very special. They're very sensitive, very loving. They tell you things that you can't even imagine that they know, and you don't know how they know it, but they just do.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're getting a lot of them these days too. So I want to start winding down here. The last question here on this slide is, what for you is sacred? And we've been speaking to that, the redwood forest, nature, a rose. What for you is sacred, Cleo?
That's true.
For me, it's the outdoors.
The
Being in
outdoors.
nature. I can feel God's presence.
Mhm. So that would be something to take into the rest of the day and this week, maybe, to just notice the sacred and your sense of it. I think I might have more slides. Let's see. Oh, that was the last one. So my thank you for participating. You really have, and I so appreciate it. And thank you for the contributions that your sharing has been for all of us, has been for me for sure. So would you contemplate now for a moment, and let's close with anyone who wants to share a takeaway. What are you going to take away from how many classes? 5? This is our 5th. 5 invitations, 5 times together. What is your takeaway out of the 5?
Don't wait.
Don't wait. Great. Great. Dee?
Live more consciously.
Live more consciously. Great.
That I still have much to learn.
Still have much to learn. Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else? Did you say that same for you?
Yeah.
Dee? Much to learn. It's exciting. I mean, that's an exciting thought. Anything else? Anybody else?
The more I learn, the less I know.
Isn't that true? Isn't that true?
Don't take anything for granted about any of your friends because you don't know where they came from, what they've been doing.
Yeah.
I've done in the past, I should put that.
Thank you. Don't take anything for granted.
So thinking about death can be transforming
Yes.
in how I live.
Yes.
That there was a statement made toward the back. I pulled it down the corner because that takes it at a whole different level for me.
It does, doesn't it? I said it has for me too. You know, that I'm not in my 20s anymore, except sometime. And you know, we do, I mean, even in our 20s, we don't know how much time we have. It could go like that. But at this age, you know, we don't know how much time. So as you said, Chris, why wait? And the thought of death isn't ugly. It's more of inspires me to live now, right? Anybody else on a takeaway? Susie?
Well, I'm not sure it's a takeaway, but I just want to say, I think it was a beautiful book. And for me, I've worked, everybody works on forgiveness, I'm sure, but I finally had my aha on the Heart of the Matter chapter.
Oh.
It was really wonderful on forgiveness.
Oh, great. What is it? Can you get the part? Are you there? No? Okay.
Forgiveness asks us to move closer to our suffering and in so doing discover a larger, more compassionate part of ourselves that can touch our wounds with kindness and understanding. I mean, the whole thing, not just beautiful. Yeah, just a sentence.
Yeah.
To touch other people.
Me too. It struck me how forgiveness really is a gift to ourselves.
Yeah.
It's the most self-nurturing, kind thing, the most unconditionally loving thing we can do for ourselves.
Yeah.
And then we forgive others. I agree with you, Susie. I was so touched by that.
Great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah.
I think the author talks a lot about that death is part of life.
Yeah.
And that life itself is sacred. And that we accept all aspects of it.
Yeah. It's all sacred, huh? Death is a part of life. I mean, we see it everywhere, not just in ourselves, but nature, right? Everything changes. Well, thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all online. Do you want to say anything about a takeaway? Anyone online? Then I'm going to pray out. Pray out. Ready? Pray out. So God, we just, we sit in a moment of realization of the sacredness of life. We give thanks for the reminder that every moment is sacred and precious, that we are each sacred beings and precious. And that to live in the awareness of the importance of every moment is now planted in our hearts. And so we give thanks. Give thanks for one another, these 5 times together, and know that blessings attend our day, our week, and in all the days ahead. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. I have an announcement before y'all run and get some sugar and salt. Because Billy, you had asked a question, and I've been going back and forth with it about, are we taking a break before the next class? And I thought we were going to, but Kathy reminded me that we're going to dive into Adventures in Prayer beginning next Wednesday. There will be 4 sessions, the last 2 weeks in June, and the last 2 Wednesdays in June, and the first 2 in July. And then all of August will be on break. I wanted to give everyone, especially a break before we get into the fall season. I'm looking at books to do the small group book discussion for fall, a 7-week adventure in faith. I'm looking at some books. I'm looking at Greg Braden's Wisdom Codes. And then have any of you heard of Pam Grout?
Yes.
Yes, I recommend
Yeah.
that.
She's written a couple,
So this-
E
Yes.
squared, and then she's got E cubed.
Yes.
So I'm going to take a look at both of those books and see, all 3 of those books, Greg's and 2 of Pam's, and see. But if there's something that you have been totally transformed by reading and would like to look at again, let me know and I'll take a look too. Okay?
Sharon, do we need to buy a book called Adventures in Prayer?
You don't have to, but it is in the bookstore.
Oh, it's a book.
Yeah. Anybody online want to say anything before we say bye-bye? Bye-bye, bye-bye. We all in here say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
No, I have not. Sharon's book?
We missed the first,
You're going on vacation.
no, we're going up to Dogsit, Munn's Park. Munn's Park, it's about 15 miles south of Flagstaff. It's our chance to be in the mountains and in the trees.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, but we'll do it online.
Oh, good.
We'll try.
Okay. We'll do a Zoom.
Yeah, yeah.
Isn't that beautiful? That stone.
Yeah, this is Santa Fe, and it's basically, a geode that they cut. So you would see the top, the amethyst, but you wouldn't see the layers.
I do.
And I'm surprised
Isn't
that
that amazing?
it's amazing to me. And I thought, well, you could make a lot of these out of, one of those amethyst geodes, but I've never seen one.
I haven't either like that.
I got
I
it
mean,
in
it
Santa
makes me
Fe.
so curious about, okay, so what are the layers before it becomes
Yeah.
an amethyst?
Right. And you see the white part, the outer crust,
Yeah.
but you don't see the variation, and it's
I
green,
know
it's
before
white,
it-
it's, yeah,
Very cool.
it's very cool. About years ago when I was working.
I
in
love Santa Fe. You were living there?
We were doing a project, so we were not there for a long period. So, yeah.
It's a magical city.
It is a magical city, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of magical places around if you are open to magic. Of course, you know, we have a magician in the family, so.
You do.
Yeah, our son is a magician.
Wait, oh, he's the one who's the magician in France?
Yeah. Well, now they're in Holland, but they're,
Holland?
and then they're working on a ship in the Mediterranean, so they have to fly to
God, what
Rome
a,
every day, every week and perform. I mean, it's a great life.
it's a fun life.
Well, it's a lot of stress in it too.
Is there?
Well, you know, you always worry about the next gig. He constructs their illusions. So he's got all these electronics and servos and things that happen, and sometimes they don't, and you know, it's just, yeah, it's stressful.
How does a little kid start out like that?
Well,
Was he always like that, tinkering with stuff?
he was reading about Merlin when he was 8 years old.
Merlin?
Merlin. And Stan invited a friend who was an insurance agent to come over and do some magic tricks. And I think he had a fusion right there. He became a wizard in high
Your son
school.
did.
In high school, sewed his own costume,
No.
and did kids' birthday parties. And then he did it all through college. He went over to Cal Poly and he would work at the apple farm and get people who were coming in for breakfast and, you know, entertain them. And then he'd do down on the coast, you know, people coming for dinner. And then he went to St. Andrews in Scotland and did it there on the street.
God.
And he just kept going. We thought he was going to be a math teacher or an engineer. He went to school to be an engineer.
So creative.
Very creative. Yeah.
And scientific at the same time.
Well, he's good at engineering, and he doesn't buy stuff. I mean, he puts it all. They put it all together. So we're going over there in August because they've got a new illusion that requires him to ride a zip line back down to the stage. I mean,
Oh, God.
so we live vicariously through him.
I mean, do you ever go like,
We often wonder, or people often say, well, you know how they do these things? And I'd say, no, I don't, because I don't want to know. If I know, it takes the fun.
We like to be like
We like to
everybody
be
else.
cool like everybody else.
Well, some things, of course.
oh, what's his name?
Scott.
Scott. Now, has he done Vegas?
Well, yes, they've worked in Vegas. Yes.
Who's that great illusionist that is famous?
Well, there's
David
David
Copperfield.
Yes, and Lance
Burton.
Burton.
I don't know that name at all.
Well, he's kind of gone now, but yeah. But there's a lot of starving magicians in Las Vegas. And most of them do ordinary magic. Scott and his wife Muriel won an international grand prize in 2000 in Lisbon, Portugal. They have what they call the FISM, the Federation International Magicians, and they come from all over the world.
Wow.
So they do about, I don't know, 3.5, 4 days of competition. And then they have winners in different sections.
As a comedy act, the first ones that ever won it.
And they didn't win in comedy, and we're sitting there, we win, of course, and we're sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, we didn't win comedy. Well, and they're smiling. Why are you smiling? They got the grand prize, which was the top prize.
Oh, wow.
So,
I mean, aren't
We're
you
just
just
so-
stunned? This is your kid.
this is our kid, yeah. So, you know, we have magic all the time. It's great.
His wife,
you know?
unfortunately, is a very good clown. She's a Gracie Allen type, just funny all the time.
Oh, how
And
fun.
Extremely talented. She does everything. She's a good cook. She sews all her costumes. She takes care of all the bookkeeping. She's the one that knows French.
What a
And this
great partner for
has to
him.
do all the translating.
Yes.
So he's the creative one. He comes up with the stuff and then she does it. Put it together.
I'll bring pictures in sometime. I'm sure you've got some, right?
Oh, they're on YouTube. You can always.
Oh,
take a
oh,
look.
are they?
Yeah.
What's his name? Scott?
Scott the magician.
Scott the
Or Scott
magician?
Muriel.
Scott and Muriel,
Scott Muriel.
or Miss Muriel.
Muriel.
She's Dutch.
And I would just go look at Scott and Muriel and I'd get
And
YouTube.
there are YouTube things, there's
Okay.
videos.
very good class.
Oh,
It's
good.
very thought provoking, and the book is very thought.
It is, isn't it?
But I left E equals, what is it, M or E, what is it, M squared?
E squared.
E squared, yeah. I mean, what it did is it took all of the fancy words away. It's very, straightforward language, everyday language.
Is it worth a 7-week
I don't know if you need. 7
discussion
weeks.
group?
I don't know if you need 7 weeks. Yeah, I haven't looked at it lately. And there's, I guess, yeah, there's a condensed version as well as